Hi everyone. So for my final project on the course 841, my name is Maria Ayala and I have selected the option 4 on single individual intervention. So let's talk a little bit about my student. Her name, let's call her Mary. She is in mid fifth grade. She's a Spanish speaker. She's 11 years old with 2 months, and she has been diagnosed with the disability of dyslexia. A little bit about my student's background. On second grade and third grade, she was just suggested by the school to work with a tutor, but then her fourth grade teacher suggested her an outside evaluation with a neuropsychologist. And then, so in January of 2016, she was diagnosed with dyslexia. Before I start talking to you about the interventions and assessments, I thought it was important to share with you a little bit about Paraguay's background on special education. There are no formal, when you compare it to the United States, there are no formal systems in place or preventions like RTI or IDEA. There's a law, but private schools are not required to apply them. And so, what is it for families and schools to do whenever there's a student that has disabilities? Then they get off campus professionals, assessments, and treatments. So, in Mary's case, she already came to me with the diagnosis in place. And what the report stated was that she needed clinical therapy on neuropsychology and psychopedagogy twice a week. And her major areas of concern was, first of all, her reading fluency, and then her comprehension, her accuracy, attention, writing, math. And because her fluency was just so choppy, she couldn't access to many content areas. And it's very important also to state that emotionally wise, her self-esteem was extremely low at this point, and that she was starting to build this identity around the fact that she felt that she was a complete failure. So for her pre-intervention, I started to gather data based on her report, which stated that she was kind of like on a second grade level regarding reading. So I used two assessments, two standardized assessments, which was, first of all, one that's called LE from Argentina. It's a test on reading and writing, which is really good. And then I also used the Woodcock-Munoz achievement, the Spanish version, which is the Woodcock, but in the Spanish version, on text comprehension. So from the test LE, first of all, it should be mentioned that I compared, because this test is only built for students until third grade, and I thought it was important, and because the information used here is really good, I thought it was important to just to use this assessment. And I compared her results to a third grade level, except for the subtest of reading comprehension, which I compared her to a second grade level. And so if you can see from here, is that accuracy and fluency regarding word recognition and nonsense words were the areas that she struggled with the most. She also struggled with nonsense words writing, but we decided as a team that I would focus my treatment mostly on her reading fluency. So here are just a couple examples. Like this is just a page of her assessment where I would write down what she wrote, what she read, and the type of errors that she makes. So for example, when she had to read this list of words, she read these 42 words in 4 minutes and 2 seconds, which is kind of like 10.4 words per minute. And when she was assessed on her reading text, her fluency was 24 words per minute. And from the Woodcock-Munoz reading comprehension, her grade equivalent was 4.6, given that she was in fifth grade. So I wasn't that concerned about her reading comprehension, but I was really concerned about her fluency and accuracy. So what I did is I consulted a lot of literacy, scholarly literacy that you can see from here. I have the fundamentals of literacy and instruction assessment, and then the authors, and from each either article, journal, or textbook, what I wrote down here is what did I gain from those readings? Like, for example, from the first one, I got information on what kind of assessments I could apply for the student. And then I also got information from what type of intervention strategies would be appropriate. So for each one of these articles, for each one of these readings, you could see that I wrote down either in the assessment block or in the intervention boxes, so that you can see what is it that I got from each one of these readings. And there were 7 readings that I got, 7 papers or textbooks or articles. And all of these intervention strategies and assessment, I chose a couple of them and designed an intervention based on that. So she came to me like 5 months ago, and what I did was I did a lot of progress monitoring with her. I used the DIBELS, which in Spanish version you call it the IDEL graphs, and then I used many strategies, which were the ones that were suggested in the passages that I had shared with you previously. And I'm going to be sharing now with you what these interventions were. But before I do that, this is something that I thought it was really important to discuss and share with you. What happened in our way 5 months ago? First of all, there's an epidemic here in Paraguay on influenza. So my student got really sick, and she couldn't come to work with me for like 3 to 4 weeks. In the meantime as well, she was getting a lot of neurological tests. So she had to miss a lot of sessions with me too. She also had to get some visual hearing tests, and even I got really sick. And because I'm pregnant, I can't really take a lot of medication. So for 3 to 4 weeks, I was also absent. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to be sharing with you data of the most consistent month, which was this last month, and which she was really on target, and there were not a lot of absentees or absences. So first of all, I gave her the option of choosing which strategies she wanted to work with and the order that she wanted to work with those strategies. I shared with her, like, these are the strategies that work with students that have fluency and that have issues with accuracy and comprehension. And she was really, you can see here from the pictures, she says here, like, what am I going to improve? And I show her the connection between accuracy and comprehension and fluency. And so every day now, every time that she comes in, I write, and she writes down the 4 strategies that she needs to work on, the 4 to 5 strategies that she needs to work on, but she chooses the order in which she wants to do them. So the first thing that we did before we start every day, or before we even started the intervention, was like, how do you feel about yourself as a reader? And I got this from Kahneman and Strobel. And then we do a lot of reflection on it every single day. So progress monitoring was key for every single activity that has taken place with this child. For example, we use the DIBELS, and you can see here a picture of how we were progress monitoring regarding her fluency. I use a first grade level, and I use the inter-individual framework to set the end of year goal. I use the Read Naturally strategy of repeated reading. I use the strategy itself, and what I do is I use the DIBELS readings in order to do that. So I have her read the DIBELS once, and then that would be the cold reading. Then she practices 3 more paragraphs, approximately like 3 more paragraphs with me. Like, we read aloud and we read it together. And then she has a hot reading where I assess her again on her reading to see how much she has improved. So I use this all the time, like, listen carefully to my voice while we read together out loud, and try to keep up with me, and stretch the sounds as you read, and use finger pointing as you read. And because she doesn't really like this activity that much compared to the other ones, I provide her with stickers for every time that she practices the reading with me. I used a iPad app called Study Blue, where I created a list of the sight words that are appropriate for second grade. So how did I select these 52 words? I had Mary read the 100 words that are appropriate for second graders to read fluently. And all of those words that she struggled with, I made a list. I mean, we made a list together in the app. So I time her every time that she reads these words. And as you can see, she has been making a lot of progress. I have been working with reading A to Z books, which are leveled books. She started with level E books, and I'll show you later on that she's reading on a level J. So I took a picture here of a couple of the books that she's reading with me. And what she does is she has a box of books, and every day she takes a couple of the books that she has already read with me, and she reads with me 3 to 4 books every day. So we do a lot of repeated reading as well, the repeated reading strategy here. We use the JEL, this is a Spanish from Argentina program for reading where we work on consonant vowel words, and I also test her on 1 minute how she does when reading those words. So what are the outcomes? So you can see here with the dibbles regarding her fluency, you can see the red line is her trend line and the green line would be her aim line. And from this graph is really important to state that the trend shows that an increase of 1.7 units, 1.7 words per assessment interval. So ever since she has been a lot more consistent working with me and assisting to the sessions, she has made like 1.7 words per minute increase. When using the read naturally strategy of repeated reading, you can see here from the graph as well, the cold reading, which would be the blue graphs, and the red reading, the red one would be the hot reading. So it shows that she has definitely made an increase ever since she started to be a lot more consistent. And here's just a picture of me and her while we're practicing the repeated reading, that I point and she points with me as well as we're reading together. Regarding the sight words, the improvements have not been that significant. However, she is making progress, and she is regarding sight words that are from second grade too. And when working with the reading A to Z books that I had showed you previously, what I also wanted her to start working on was her stamina. Because as you can see from the graph here, the first time that we started to do this, after 4 minutes, she stated that she was extremely tired and she didn't want to read anymore. And so when she realized that it was only after 4 minutes that she had been so tired, the next time she started to read, and she reads all of these books that she has already read in the past. She did 16 minutes and then 18 minutes, and now she really likes to be challenged. So she's really aware that now she's aware that she's improving her stamina as well. So we started with level E. Currently, we're working on level J books. I provide her a lot of feedback as she's reading, like take a breath at the end of each sentence and stretch the sounds as you read, and don't forget to finger point. Using the HELP program on consonant vowel words for 1 minute, you could also see here from the picture, from the graph, that there's a positive trend. And then after 5 months of treatment, I also tested her one more time on her summative assessment, and you can see here from the graphs that there has definitely been an increase, especially regarding her fluency. Like if you look at the graph here on red and blue, accuracy has not been a major improvement, but when you consider fluency, how much time she had used to spend like 5 months ago and how much time she's spending on reading words or nonsense words, it's definitely an improvement. And here I just